And so I think sometimes that, you look at not necessarily who they feel is the best player, but that's why they draft for where they need. We always heard that line that they take the best athlete available. That's not true. They take the best of athlete available at the position that they need. And so that's the way they address this. And to your point, I'm no scout. I don't pretend to be. I don't study tape. I watch college football. I watch players after all these years. I have an idea who can play and who can't. But I don't study them, but I don't pretend to know who's good. But I'll tell you what they think.
Right.
That's what, and so that's all that matters to me.
And I will say this about
like somebody will say, "Do you like so and so?" I'll say, "Well, I like him, but more importantly, they like him."
That's exactly
Or more
right.
importantly, they don't like him.
That's it. Right. So you have to deal within practicality.
Right.
Right. Which is where you try to keep it. And hopefully, I try to keep it between the rails of what is plausible and possible. But I still going back to that. One of the things the Steelers have not done, and certainly haven't done under Omar Khan, and haven't done in quite some time, is reach for a guy because of need. And so if your 3 first-round tackle guys who you thought could be available for you are not available, what are you doing next? And the more broadly you can say, hey, listen, we want to take the best guy available at, say, 4 different positions, then you open yourself up to get that guy that we were talking about earlier, that you take at 21, and 3 years from now, somebody does, hey, let's redo the 2026 draft, and that guy at 21, we would have taken him 6th.
Right.
That's the guy. And the more broadly you open yourself up to draft possibilities, and the Steelers, I think, have always done a pretty good job of this, making themselves available to broad, the better chance you have of getting that type of a player.
I think well said. Yeah. You want the Cam Hayward scenario to be a possibility on
exactly.
That this guy, I think, they had him 16th, I think, or 14th on their big board. They didn't think there was any chance he was going to be there at pick 31, and he was. And it's not a priority. It's not a position of need. But we can't pass up on this guy.
Right.
I think there's a chance that could happen in this class. Maybe with a wide receiver, maybe with a defensive tackle, as we've mentioned. But there's going to be a run on edge rushers, and there's going to be a run on offensive tackles in the top 20. And those are positions that I think we would all be very surprised if the Steelers went with in the first round. You want a handful of edge rushers, handful of offensive tackles, push those wide receivers, those defensive tackles back down the board. That's a good place to be.
And here's where I always come to when I'm here. So now I'm like, well, how about an offensive tackle? You got Broderick Jones. You're probably not going to give him a 5th year. You had Dylan Cook. Man, what if you found that offensive tackle? What if you got that safety? What do you got? It all comes back to me thinking they're probably going to take a receiver. But I can convince myself of a lot of different things.
You can think yourself out of the obvious.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
So
and that's why I always say, do not lose sight of the fact that Mike McCarthy is the coach of this team. And he believes in wide receivers and a quarterback, and never lose sight of that.
That is Gerry Dulac. He is Wes Uhler. Wes Uhler coming up with Matt Williamson in the drive. Next year, I'm Rob King, done for today. Looking forward to tomorrow as we continue our coverage week-long here at the Combine in Indianapolis here on Steelers Nation Radio, a part of the Steelers Audio Network.